So I'm going to use DualShock 4 to turn on the console. You hear the same beep from PlayStation 3. It's very familiar. Very familiar. So you just do that with holding down the PlayStation button, and it's going to turn on. It's very clean. Logo, I like that.
Yeah, there's not like some gigantic music cue and all this swirling stuff. It's like, look,
I would have loved it. I would have loved it if it started out much like the PS1 did. Actually, that same they brought that.
They just brought it back.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Oh yeah.
So these are we got Babia, we got Destin, which we're actually going to use, and user 1 is me, and user 2 is someone else. And so this is immediately greets you, and this is cool because this is a little more accessible and a little quicker. And what we're going to notice about the UI on PlayStation 4 is that it's much snappier than PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 was a bit of a mess, especially early on, and they kept adding onto it, and it got a little bit better, but it wasn't created for that quickness that PS4 is. So we'll jump into Destin's profile, and this pops up. And this is great. This is the version of Cross Media Bar, basically, but it shows you the games and applications. You don't have to go directly to that part of the Cross Media Bar and seek that out and then go up and down or go in the folders. It's just basically showing you everything. So the last game we played on here was Need for Speed Rivals, which we'll show off later. We'll show off the Playroom and Killzone, of course. But we have, a lot of games on here, FIFA and NBA and all these kinds of things. And the games start out really quick. Now, I don't want to spoil anything. We're going to play Killzone in just a little while, but I want to show you guys not only how quickly the game loads up, but how quickly it gets to the actual menu in Killzone when we load it.
Well, I want to say also, like,
we don't have the disc in there, so we can't do that. Can we get the? Oh, it's on here.
Well,
cool. Go ahead, Steve.
When we talk about like the old PlayStation and even the new Xbox One, the opening screen is not as focused on games.
Yes.
Like, there's a lot of other stuff on it, other services like Skype and Netflix and all this stuff, and I love that, and it's great, and I love using my consoles for that. But this is right in line with Sony's message that, look, we're all about the games, and so when you boot it up right away, that's what you're confronted with. You don't have to go somewhere else to find what you're looking for.
I love that too, and you can set the settings. We're not going to be able to play too much with PlayStation Network, unfortunately, because they're still kind of trying to get things online and stuff. So it's a little shaky right now, but it's cool that it signs you right in. It gets you right in there. It will show you what your friends are, like what's going on, what's new. There's a lot of cool things. The PlayStation Store is super accessible. If you just go up here, you can find everything really quick. It's so smooth. It's almost, I was saying to people, it's almost very un-PlayStation 3 in a way, which is it's
kind of a compliment.
Yeah, no, it is. So Killzone's in now, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's start it up.
Yeah, so you see when you put the disc in, it goes right to the front of the queue there. That's nice.
Yeah, that's cool too. And you can see, you might have saw the little subtle disc, the little disc icon that will indicate that you need the disc or not. We actually have Killzone on our debugs, and that's why I was so used to playing it just off the cross media bar. That's how quickly the game starts. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you get right into the campaign, or we go to multiplayer. It's going to ask us to sign in, which we can't, and you can just jump around. We'll get back to this later, but what's really cool is you just press the PlayStation button and you're back. And then if you want to go back to Killzone, you're back. And you go back to the menu and you're back here.
That's so fast.
I
love that. That's so crazy.
And it's really nicely done. So we have a lot of that kind of cool stuff. Now, if you go up here, what I even like about this, and this is kind of corny for a lot of people that aren't like super into PlayStation, but I love this, is like how much smoother and more intuitive even the little menus are when you're doing like finding system software update or anything. It's all in the same menu. You don't have to like figure out like the granularity of PlayStation 3, like where was this again, in what folder?
Is this where the printer settings are?
Yeah, this is where you'll find your printer settings and all that kind of stuff. But this is cool because it basically just distills everything into, you don't have to go to like sound to be like, is that where I have to figure out my headphones? I don't have to go to the trophy menu to, because the trophies are just right up here. So I like how intuitive all that is.
Also in that settings menu, we were, for production purposes, we have to kind of move some games around here in the office, and it was as simple as putting a USB stick in the port on the front of the PS4 and going in here and just copying it over. And it's not like it is on the Xbox 360 where you've got to like have a special kind of configuration on the USB stick. And it was super seamless. I was really impressed with how easy it is to get to what you want and even to move the stuff from system to system.
I agree. Destin, were you able to sync your trophies on this thing? No? I'm wondering, can you unplug the Ethernet cable from the back of the PlayStation? Thanks. I'm wondering, because so basically we are having a little bit of difficulty connecting the PlayStation Network. They just put it up and they're working out a lot of kinks. And so I'm wondering, I'm wondering if we can show the trophy list. We'll actually be able to do it on debug later because we haven't connected those to the PlayStation Network yet. I love how fluid and smooth that is as well, and how easy the list is, and how quickly. Now this is the unfortunate thing, Steve. You still have to sync your trophies on PlayStation 4, which people are a little disappointed about. On Xbox 360 and I assume Xbox One, your achievements just kind of organically get onto the server. But you still have to sync, but it's very fast, like PS Vita style syncing, which is kind of cool.
So we saw a little prompt there to interact with your voice, say PlayStation. How does that work?
So if you have PlayStation camera specifically, there's some I want to say cursory things you can do with PlayStation camera. It's not like Kinect or Xbox One's Kinect. You can't necessarily turn on and off the console with regularity or anything like that. But I believe you can turn off the console. I think that's what Greg responded. But you can't turn it on.
But you can turn it off.
You can turn it off. So maybe that will come in a firmware update.
Right.
PlayStation fans are quite used to their firmware updates. I'm
Right.
sure they're going to be coming in hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And very regular.
Yeah.
Let's not forget regular.
What is the Playroom?
So Playroom, so this is a cool thing. We're going to show Playroom off, I think, a little bit later, right? Playroom is the built-in software that comes with PlayStation 4. And it's a little interesting because I think it's obvious that PlayStation 4 was originally designed to come with the camera, and they took it out. We know they took it out to kind of curb costs and be competitive with the price point. So if you buy the camera, you'll be able to actually interact with the Playroom, which is kind of like just a small interactive game, basically. It's akin, in my opinion, to Welcome Park on PlayStation Vita. It's just a game that you have to kind of learn some of what the system can do. But it's not something I don't think you're going to be wasting a lot of time with. I think you'll be wasting more time with Resogun, which we'll have more of later.
It may also be something that Sony, created specifically to show developers, like, hey, this is some stuff that you can do. Maybe try this out for the second and third year games.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to encourage people to go on IGN. You're already on IGN. Maybe you're watching the stream now. Maybe you're watching it queued up later. But go on there. We have a lot of videos about the UI working with PlayStation Network. We dispatched some of our editors to New York City, and they got to see kind of a closed environment version of the PlayStation Store and all these things. A lot of people were curious why the PlayStation Store was so terrible on PlayStation 3 in its new form. It's really because it was designed for PlayStation 4.
Right. What does the spinning reticule mean on Killzone here? Does that mean the game is like you
It's like in a pause state?
Yeah, you backed out of
it's
it,
on.
right? It's
So
still
yeah,
going.
yeah,
Okay,
it's on. And I just love. So I mean, if you're done with Killzone, you just hold down the PlayStation button. You can close the application, and it's cool that you have all these options here too. One thing, curiously, that's missing from PlayStation 3, of course, is turning off your controller. But yeah, you can close it. And what's cool too is if you have the game open and you want to go to another game, it'll just quickly prompt you very PS Vita style to close the other game. You can't run two games at the same time, two applications. Maybe you will in the future. I don't know. And even though I installed it, one cool thing about NBA 2K14 particularly was an example of a game installing as you played it from a disc, which I
How fast were you able to start playing it?
So you can put it in immediately. It'll have like a very brief load time of maybe 5 or 10 seconds. It will queue up, go through the menus, and you can play a quick game right off the bat, and then it will download the rest of the game off the disc in the background, which is kind of cool as well.
So it'll download sort of a quick and dirty
Demo
mode, like a quick play,
trial, yeah.
and then you can play that, and then as you're playing that, it downloads other options.
It's very cool. I wasn't aware that you could do that off of disc. We knew that there's going to be some cool downloading off of PlayStation Network to play, the single player while you're downloading the multiplayer, etc., and so on. But it's cool that you can do it off a disc as well. So what do we want to do? Do we want to jump into Killzone after the break?
Yeah, let's go ahead and give away one of our first copies of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag.
I haven't had a chance to tweet yet.
Well, you got to be fast. We have lots more copies to give away. Ubisoft has provided us a bunch of copies of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Let's give away the first one to Steve Judd.
Oh, I was so close.
He tweeted, it is actually really close. He tweeted at IGN, #PS4, just like you should do, with his question, how long is the charge cord for the controller?
It looks like it's...
How long is that?
4 feet?
5 feet?
Let's see. Yeah, let's say 5 feet. Should we?
Steve, can you eyeball that, Steve?
Can you
Well, how tall is Destin?
Yeah,
We need some sort of reference here.
Here we go. This is how...
Here, give me one end, and David
there
gets
you
the
go.
other end. All right.
That's how long
There
it
you
is.
go.
This
that's
is how long.
That's what, 5?
That looks like 6 feet.
6?
Oh,
No,
that's-
5
I can't
feet.
judge
That's 5
distance.
feet.
I have no idea.
5 feet.
5 feet.
Okay.
Let's get Andrew Goldfarb in here, and we'll test it out.
1 3/4 meters.
5-ish feet there, Steve Judd.
Thank you.
Viewers, stay tuned. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to play Killzone Shadowfall. Don't go anywhere.